My 22F boyfriend 19M is mad that I kept photos from him.
What can I say to make him understand?
I 22F got my hair done a week ago and sent them to my boyfriend 19M.
We've been together for almost 6 months now.
Today I posted a picture that I didn't send him because earlier in our relationship he said he didn't want me to send filtered pictures, just normal ones. So when I sent him the photos I took, I sent the unfiltered ones.
I posted a picture of me with a filter on and he got mad that I was keeping photos from him, and he even ended the call out of nowhere. It's not like I was deliberately trying to hide or not send those pictures of myself. I just didn't think he'd be interested in that one compared to the other ones. What can I do or say to let him know where I'm coming from? I don't really understand why he got so mad about this and could use some advice.
Update. So I started talking to him about this and he started talking about hypotheticals, and he said if I hypothetically cheat on him, he would kill me. So, I will be definitely leaving this relationship. Thanks everyone for all of the advice. What does this even mean?
Are you supposed to send him every photo you ever take?
Why?
Also, he's clearly following you on social media, so he sees it anyway. Maybe this is the universe telling you not to date a 19-year-old boy.
You really want advice on how to diffuse your boyfriend's anger because you didn't send him a filtered picture before you posted it online?
Read that again. Now read it one more time.
Girl, run.
Run like the wind.
This is insane controlling behavior on his part, and you know it. There's nothing you can say that will let him know where you're coming from because this is cuckoo pants behavior. You want to know what's next?
He'll demand you stop putting up pictures with filters on them.
After that?
He'll want you to run every picture you post past him.
Then, he won't like you wearing revealing clothes or bathing suits, and you'll be on here asking if it's normal for your boyfriend to tell you what's okay to post.
Get out now.
Get out yesterday.
His anger is not health or normal.
NGL, when I read the title I thought it was about nudes or something crazy, but this? Sis, do yourself a favor and run as fast as you can.
I think he's mad because him not having 100% access to how you're perceived is triggering his insecurity. This is actually wild.
If you posted your new hairdo without showing him first, maybe that'd be one thing.
I'd be a stupid thing, but at least he'd have some legs to stand on. 6 months in and you're already seeing how he handles conflict, disagreement with you.
Abruptly hanging up the call? Accusing you of hiding things from him?
Take note, this will absolutely happen again and again. Run for the hills. This is such a controlling behavior already, and he is only 19. It can only get worse from here. See no evil.
This is just bizarre.
It's immature and manipulative.
How do I move on from my wife suddenly wanting a baby?
29 male, 27 female.
Me, 29M, and my wife, 27F, got married a few months ago, after 7 years, very happy years together.
Children have never been on the table for us for the previous 7 years.
We'd always spoken about how we didn't want them, and my wife especially has said how much she hates, dislikes kids. For me, I've never wanted any.
While painting the inside of our house recently, she laughing and jokingly said how she wanted a baby. I was shocked and asked her what she meant, but she said that it'd be so cute to have a baby around and how she'd like a mini-me, her.
Immediately I was upset because this is new news, and against everything we'd spoken about up to this point. She did say that it's somewhat pushed by family and friends now saying to her, a baby is next, after we got married. My issue is I feel completely betrayed. She spent 7 years saying she doesn't want children, and now a month after the wedding she suddenly wants them. We've spoken about it since, and I do think she understands why I'm so upset about it, but from my perspective I feel like she has put a timer on our marriage. While she has said she would rather have me and not have kids, I don't see it from that way, and I see it that one side wanting kids and the other not means that it's only going to get more intense further down the line, especially as the female body clock gets along, and she has put a timer on the marriage as it'll inevitably get to the point where she wants to call things quits for someone who will give her a baby.
I'm not sure what I'm asking, I just wanted to write it all down. I love her and she means everything to me,
but there's the other perspective that she spent 7 years saying how much she doesn't want, or even how much she dislikes children, to then wait a month after the wedding to do a complete 180.
I don't know what to feel. Please do tell me if you think I am out of order here. I just feel betrayed right now. I don't want to lose my wife, but I also don't want to be pushed into a situation that I never thought I'd be in. Edit.
I should add that she has the coil birth control at the moment.
Thanks. Stay happy.
L. One of my best buddies ended up getting divorced after 12 years of being with his wife because suddenly, she wanted kids. The wife never wanted kids, but after seeing family members her age having kids, suddenly she also wanted kids.
Unfortunately, is either you accept your wife's idea or game over. One of you will be miserable either way. On the other hand, I met an ex-colleague who told me his story. Same idea.
His wife wanted no kids. He wanted no kids. About 5 years into the marriage, wife said, "I want kids."
He couldn't see his life without her, so he agreed.
Now they have 3 kids.
Tears of joy, he told me.
I cannot believe I didn't want kids in my life. So really, the decision will be up to you as to what to do.
Not a fun spot to be in.
The thing is, she's entitled to change her mind. It's not betrayal.
What one person wants when you are 20 isn't always the same things when you get older.
However, you are entitled to your feelings as well, due to the fact you wanted to be child-free and believed you were both on the same page.
This might be a good time to sit down with the MC and really talk things out.
When I turned 25, I suddenly had a deep, basically painful desire to have children, particularly a daughter, which was strange because I was always unsure of wanting kids and I vaguely wanted sons if it ever did happen.
I think it was some really weird biological thing. It went away, lol.
Not saying your wife's will, but it's also possible that she didn't actually lie to you and trick you. If her feelings about the whole premise of your marriage have changed, and yours haven't, you both need to reassess the marriage. Don't feel forced into having a baby when you never wanted one.
Might be time for a snip. I understand why you're upset.
But you're making a lot of assumptions and you're so stuck inside your own head that you're not really hearing what she's saying.
She has not betrayed you. People change. Sometimes their feelings about big things change.
That's not a betrayal, it's just life. Her feelings shifted and she was feeling you out to see if your feelings had also changed.
Listen to her when she says she wants you. Stop assuming this means there's a ticking bomb.
You have every right to be upset about this after 7 years of being on the same page about children. The only thing I really have to add to this is, she said that it'd be so cute to have a baby around and how she'd like a mini-me, her, is such a giant yikes and absolutely not a reason to have children.
She needs to really consider if she actually suddenly wants kids now or if she just thinks it's what other people expect of her. It's not an issue to flip-flop about. My boyfriend, 24M, loses his erection when going inside me, 24F. What do I do?
My boyfriend, 24M, me, 24F, have been in a relationship for almost a year. He gets aroused with me, like he is attracted to me or at least he gets a boner easily when he is with me.
We kiss, it only gets bigger, we do oral sex, and he always comes.
But anytime we try to have intercourse as in penetration sex, he loses the boner.
Anytime he thinks about putting it inside, he loses it.
Farthest we have gone is him putting it inside and next second, is flaccid.
I don't pressure him, for months I've been uplifting his moral and furthermore, I've always wait for him to ask me to put it inside for lack of better word.
At the beginning of the relationship, he was discouraged because he thought he had phimosis. But nowadays his foreskin gets retracted very easily and as it should be. So any fear he had about pain before, it's now long gone.
I love him so much but I've sacrificed my self-pleasure just to not make him feel bad about himself.
I don't want to break up with him over sex, but sometimes I can't help but cry. My question is, what do I do? Why does he turns on with me but suddenly turns off with the idea of going inside me?
Edit. Thank you all for your inputs.
I'll try to talk with him tomorrow, at least try to make him feel comfortable into seeing a doctor. It's not easy to talk about this without one being defensive or hurt, but I'll try to make the best approach.
Performance anxiety, perhaps his previous experiences or possible trauma, anxiety. These can all cause performance anxiety, even if you're inside the stress can cause los metis to not beatus. Is he super nervous? I bet you he's too much in his head and thinking about performance. Performance anxiety is a thing and will cause some ed.
Does he do drugs of any kind, prescription or not?
Sometimes uppers, stimulants make it really hard to stay hard despite being super into it, just a thought. Maybe he should go see and talk to his doctor?
Possibly it can be a health-related issue.
Other such. He can have issues related to erectile dysfunction.
And if he sees a doctor, that can help him.
He should consult an andrologist instead of doing the guesswork for year.
My 23 female boyfriend, 27 male, told me to stop grieving my dad because he's dead. How do we move forward?
Sorry, this is kinda long.
Not really sure if I'm looking for advice or just some confirmation that I'm not overreacting. For some background, my dad was diagnosed with dementia when I was 6 years old. For 10 years my mom and I took care of him with no help. My dad passed when I was 16. My mom was beyond distraught. She didn't get out of bed for weeks.
I cooked and cleaned and took care of her for about a month. I didn't process the fact that my dad was gone. To this day, I haven't fully grieved and I don't know if I ever will. My boyfriend and I have been together for almost 6 months now.
When we were about 3 months in, he started to say that I have poor communication skills, mostly when it comes to being vulnerable. This is something I have been working on in therapy, and he knows that.
He has said multiple times that it's not fair that I only talk to my therapist or my mom about things, and he feels like he's always out of the loop. I have been trying since the first conversation we had about communication and vulnerability, to open up to him more, but he says I don't try hard enough. Cut to last night, we were on the topic of vulnerability again, so I asked if I could tell him how I've been feeling. I told him how I had been really sad about my dad lately as his birthday just passed and the anniversary of his death is coming up. This time of year just can get me down. By the end of my spiel, I was hardcore sobbing. He proceeded to say, "He's dead. You feeling this way isn't gonna bring him back to life. What has crying about it really gotten you? These emotions are holding you back." I tried to explain more, but he kept cutting me off and talking over me.
He kept saying how he watched people die in front of him too. But life moves on and you have to live for you. He kept saying that grief gets you nowhere and that I need to move on. At this point I was pissed. It had upset me even more about how insensitive he was being. We ended the conversation, and I texted him that we should take a break, and he said no and that we would talk about it in the morning.
Well, this morning he texted me as if nothing happened. I just can't get his words out of my head. It makes me want to cry every time I think about that conversation. I don't know if I can move forward with him after this.
Am I overreacting? What do I say to him? How do we move forward?
It's not hard to have empathy, it's a basic understanding of life. Normally in my time only terrible men don't have empathy and those types shouldn't be adorned. I am so sorry for your loss. Your boyfriend is not kind.
Grief is a very personal journey and nobody has the right to tell you how to walk yours.
His comments were insensitive, dismissive and mean.
I don't know you and didn't know your dad, but I would bet he'd want you to find someone with more compassion when you're feeling vulnerable.
Who TF does he think he is to demand your vulnerability? And then to react the way he did when you did open up to him? No. Throw the whole man out. You're worth more than that.
I think your question is, how do I move forward?
Not, how do we move forward?
This guy does not sound willing to move anywhere, with you or by himself.
And you deserve so much more. You were vulnerable with him, and he told you everything you are feeling is wrong. Who does that to someone they love? You experienced so much in your childhood, more than some people decades older.
This is trauma, and you don't just move on. And you don't just smother the feelings so some emotionally stunted man can feel more comfortable in your presence.
It's been 6 months, is it really worth continuing?
So he criticized you for your communication skills and not being vulnerable enough, so you opened up to him about your dad. And he criticized you for being too vulnerable when you got upset about it, which was absolutely a normal and valid expression of the emotions you were feeling. You can't win with this person. His lack of empathy, criticism of you and his inability to cope with your valid feelings makes me think he's not the right person for you. It's only been 6 months.
This is a great quote. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Maya Angelou.